Hello and welcome back. I'm hoping that you've already watched my previous tutorials on creating a tenancy. If not, please take the time and watch that before watching this video. This video will show you how to create a backdated tenancy. So for example, you've just come on board with Gnomon and you want to enter your tenancies in the system and create an opening balance. So you have two options when creating a backdated tenancy. Option number one is to forget all the backdated transactions and just focus on creating your tenancy contracts, entering when the next rent's going to be raised in the system, and then add in an opening balance for the tenant's rent and a balance if you owe anything to the landlord. Option number two is to backdate and enter in any historical transactions manually. Let's go through both options and we'll start with option number one. Now the contract start date should be when the tenant actually moved in. So let's say that was 1 year ago from today. Let's say that it was £1,000 rent. And here's the key part. The rent start from date should be a date in the future. So for example, today is the 3rd of July. Let's say that the next rent raised in the system is going to be on the 29th of July. So this is going to be a date in the future. Enter any deposits if you also wish to show that you're holding the deposit. We're going to zero any fees and charges. Okay, right now there is no rent outstanding. Now the first thing we need to do is add any tenant's opening balances. Let's say for example this tenant still owes £200 from last month's of rent. We're going to enter an opening balance. The next thing we need to do is take a payment to show that we've received the deposit and it's recorded in the system so that when the tenant moves out, the deposit could be correctly returned. So to enter a tenant's rent opening balance, you simply need to charge rent manually. Let's assume that this tenant owes £200. You will then go to charge rent. Now, if you want to backdate all of the rent charges, it's the same procedure, but you will go to charge multiple rents. That will take you to a list of rents that will let you backdate your transactions for as far as you want to go back. Okay, so we now have the tenant's opening balance, the deposit is receivable, and what we need to do now is check that the next rent due is on the correct date. So in this case it's the 29th of July. Now there's a chance that you may have entered all of your tenancies in the system, but the next rent due dates are all over the place. So if that's the case, just simply go to Edit and just make sure that your next rent is the date in the future. Let's receive the deposit. Now in this case, this tenant's got a £200 of debt that needs to be shown in the system. So we're just going to zero this. And the deposit receivable, we'll just collect this on the date that the tenant moved in. Let's say that this was 1 year ago from today. And that's it. That's how you create a backdated tenancy. One last thing, if you want to create an opening balance to show that you need to give money to the landlord, that's done via the accounts. Make a journal entry. You will then select a landlord, their tenancy, and from the accounts menu you would select client accounts AR. Don't get this mixed up with a bank because that's a completely different account. It's client accounts AR. And then the opening balance. Now let's say that the landlord's in credit by £100, you would enter a £100 credit and then make a debit to the opening balance. And that's it. It's advisable to watch my other tutorial where I explain about bank balances in addition to what I've just showed you now. Bye for now.